do this. Oh, that's just you, Andrea. And that's both of us. And I'll unmute you. And hopefully we should be live. I hope.
Hello.
First ever time having to run this by ourselves. So if you can hear us, let us know, please. So we actually can put something in the comments, say you can hear us, wave, whatever you want to do. Let us know where you're watching from, potentially.
Yeah.
Try and work out how to actually put that on the screen as well.
Hi, Paul. That's good news. This is good news. So for all of you that don't know, my name is Andrea Iliff. I am the marketing consultant team manager here at Exposure Ninja. And we're joined today by our amazing Freddie, who is also one of our marketing consultants on the team. And for anybody who's ever had a review before from Exposure Ninja, it's likely been myself or Freddie or one of our team members that have been doing that review for you. So hopefully we're in a really good place today now that we've worked out the technology of things. We're all warmed up. We've all had a cuppa. So it looks like there's lots going on. We've got the Italian in London. Interesting. Nice to hear from you. We've got Esther as well. We've got, Northeast Thailand. We are worldwide today. Hopefully it's not as cold where you guys are as where we are.
I've got the blanket on me at the moment. I'm not
we've
going
got
to lie.
Yes, get Freddie. That's the key for me with your one. Yeah. Just down.
Wow, loads of people in the chat. Italy.
Oh, it's nice to see everyone again. So we've got some great websites today to review for you. And what I would probably say right from the get-go here with all of our websites, what we're going to be talking through with you today, regardless of if it's your website or not. If it is, please do shout up, but take on the principles of what Freddie and I are talking through today to adjust that to your own individual business, because we are going to be talking about those building blocks of what we want to see with websites and any digital marketing activity. Lovely. Oh.
Awesome. Should we get started then?
Let's get started. We've got loads of reviews to go through, haven't we? So let's get started.
Let's go. Cool. Right. So here's our first website that we're reviewing. Gas Angel Heating. Thank you very much for submitting the site. Where do we start with this one then, Andrea? Where's the best place to start with this?
Yeah. Should we start right at the very beginning? So when we're talking about any kind of website builds, what we're honing in is that what we can see right now, which is called your above the fold section, which Freddie's popped up on the screen here. So if anybody has any thoughts on this immediately, please let us know. What do you think? Does it look like a good website? Are you clear on what they do? Do we think we trust this website? Let us know what you're thinking here. My gut feel is I know straight away that they're a Northeast boiler expert, which is brilliant. I know I'm in the right place and I'm in the Northeast. I'm loving the witch logo in there as well, because that's automatically giving me a little bit of that trust factor, that credibility within the website overall. What are your initial thoughts here, Freddie?
Yeah, I think it's looking pretty strong in terms of the above the fold area. That's something where often a lot of businesses just forget to focus on it, and they might not include enough information there. So they're boiler experts based in the Northeast. We might want to be more specific with that if they only cover a certain area. So if it's maybe sort of Newcastle and Durham, then making sure that that's in there. But I'm assuming they might have individual pages for those locations potentially. So that could be covered there. New boiler quote is the main CTA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think typically with this type of business, we might even consider adding in a call to action form on the homepage. And there's a pretty good reason for that. And I'm just going to click on this and then go through the process and actually. Yeah. So I clicked on that. We've gone through to another page. So this is it's called the quote page, but it's the instant boiler quote. And then we seem to go through to this type of multi-step form is what we'd call this. Now, this is actually quite good functionality. So I'm happy they've got this, because a lot of the time it might just be just a form that says request a callback, but this is actually getting you sort of half invested with this, because by the time you filled this in, you're pretty much hoping that they're going to be able to help you. You've given them all this information. And in terms of actual lead quality, you might find that this is much better for your business as well. So I'm just going to go through this process.
Yeah, let's go for it.
You're
looking for a new boiler anyway, aren't you, Freddie?
Oh God, don't talk about the boiler situation. That's I had this time to not think about that. Do you have a hot water cylinder? Yes, but I want you to remove it, of course. I've got no idea. This is the sort of thing I should probably know, isn't it?
Okay, brilliant.
Great. Okay, awesome.
We've got
this
numbers.
is actually quite good. I've already got a price in mind, this is actually really strong. So I like this as a process in terms of their business. You can call them up as well as part of this. Other things that could probably be improved with this, Andrea, I'm thinking more along the social proof side of things. I don't know what your thoughts would be on that side.
Definitely. I think as well with these kind of businesses, they're very good normally at adding in value to these kind of packages. So where somebody would get maybe like monthly elements in place as well, and they just don't feel like the way they're presenting it's giving you all the adjusted information that you probably need in one go. But I think like reviews are going to play a massive part for somebody like these guys to come back to the kind of the original point as well. God, sorry, the cat's just clawing up my leg. Didn't throw her outside. Should have done that clearly. So with the reviews, what I would say here is that they go really far, and particularly for businesses that location specific, Google's going to be looking for those kind of reviews as a bit of social proof as to whether they can trust that business or not. So it's going to have kind of like a double whammy effect here that we're going to want to think about. How would you present this differently, Freddie, with the individual, the way it would set out so that you could get that social proof in here?
So I'm thinking maybe having some sort of benefits bar on the site. That's probably the easiest way to do it. I don't know so you've got some good stuff here, like warranty included. I know that depends on the boiler, but you could make sure that's part of your benefits bar. Let's find an example of one, because in case people don't know what a benefits bar actually is. So this is probably one of my favorite e-commerce sites out there in terms of functionality and just overall features as well. So although this is a lead gen site that we're looking at earlier, the elements of e-commerce can be still used across a lead gen site. So here you've got their benefits bar. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 really quite good benefits that's going to encourage people to stay on the site rather than looking at maybe a competitor. And you've got something here, which is the Trustpilot rating, which is adding that credibility early on as well. So that's probably one of the easiest ways that we could add some credibility here and even add a few more benefits in at the same time. I'm just going to click on the continue button and see what happens here as well. Okay, so they've got the upsells. So this is all fairly standard, right? And then you've got get your quote. Okay, cool. I like the functionality. I guess the only other option you'd have with this is wanting to get a callback before you've got an idea of the different pricing here, maybe to actually speak with someone and see what they recommend, because sometimes if you're not, I know I've got no idea what I'm doing. So if I was looking to get a boiler, I'd probably want to speak to someone who knows what they're talking about and then get their recommendation rather than just selecting one from a drop down. But that's probably one of the only other things I think about functionality wise. But I like the way they do that.
I agree. I think what could be quite an interesting test for them as well is a lot of people make you give their email details first before actually seeing the numbers, seeing the quote, and it might be interesting to see whether or not they get a lot of drop off from that call to action as to whether people are willing to or not. Because as you say, they've invested all that time in actually giving you all the answers. They're likely to hand over an email address, and that means you can just start that nurturing with email then as well, giving them the information.
That is a really good point, and I think this is a piece of advice for anyone out there whose website you want to understand how your visitors are actually interacting with the site. I know I seem to bring this up every time we come on a stream, but get Hotjar or something similar to that installed to see how people are actually interacting with your site, how far they get through your multi-step form, if that's something that you have there. So I can see we don't have that on the site right now. I'm just going to find that for us. So this is when I can't type because I'm trying to type into what's being watched. So Hotjar is basically a heat mapping and user tracking software, and you can also get feedback as well, like this little thing on the right hand side here. So I'd recommend giving this a go. You can get started for free with it. Make sure you get it set up in the right way. So typically using like Google Tag Manager, so it's not too bloaty. But this is a great way to see how anonymously, by the way, as well, people are interacting with your site. So really, really valuable stuff. And you might be able to spot potentially where someone's dropping off, or if you keep seeing someone maybe hovering over a particular piece of information, that actually might be something that's quite valuable to them. You might want to move it further up the page. There's so much you can do with that, but you definitely have to sort of dive in and look at the recordings and the data there.
I had it so
Um,
useful. I had a client with that one just to kind of add to as well, where they were an e-commerce website and they had a ton of products below the fold, but he used kind of Hotjar to hone in on where everybody was going towards with this one product at certain times of year, and he just by moving that up further from where it was towards the top of the page, he sold a ton more of those products, and that was just from looking at the data of where people were kind of honing in on. So that, yeah, definitely would advise that if you've got some good traffic into your site.
yeah, definitely. Thanks for the comments as well, everyone. So I can see one from Paul that's really something we missed, actually, really quite a good suggestion. There's no imagery of boilers here. Now, obviously, we need to think about how to make it super clear that what you offer, what you sell, what your service is. Imagery is a great way to do that, and I don't know why we didn't even think of that, to be honest. But having some I guess because boilers look a bit boring, maybe. But yeah, having some imagery there of boilers would be really useful. If you've got any more suggestions, please feel free to stick them in the comments. Let us know what you think. We do have that benefits bar there. That's actually
I think definitely that the benefits bar that needs to go to the top, doesn't it? We need the reviews in there. The other thing as well, which is interesting with boilers, is there are some well-known boiler manufacturers out there. So do they need to include the likes of the logos for Baxi and those kind of elements in there as well to showcase that, you know, they're a reputable business who are using reputable, you know, manufacturers? Those kind of elements as well would certainly be worth consideration with that one. The other thing as well that you may want to consider for lead generation businesses is, I'm sure that that's a clickable phone number that we've got within that header, but you may even want to consider the likes of a live callback. And this is where you get a system in place where somebody will actually call you back. So you say, like, I'd request my callback. And then I think it's livecall.io is one that we can recommend. It's not one of our affiliates or anything like that. It's just a live callback system. And this will mean that actually you're not, you know, your potential customers are not hanging around. They're going to get directly through to somebody who is ready to take that next step. And that's what we'll find is that, you know, those that are looking for a live callback are serious and they want to talk to somebody about needs immediately. So it might be worth consideration.
Yeah, and I think there's, that's not good. We won't try that one then. I was trying to find a visual representation of that, but it's similar to having like live chat as well, which is another option this particular business has. Just installing live chat gives people another way to get in contact, and you can go down sort of two routes there. You've got the free options like what's the one we use? Talk.to.
Yeah.
We recommend that often in reviews.
Collect
it's just a great way to
as well as another one.
Yeah, and then collect.chat, which is more of like a it's more of a chat bot, isn't it, rather than a
great for funneling though.
chat.
We have that on our own website.
Yeah, exactly. And if someone lands on the site and they're looking specifically for a callback or for a quote, then that's going to make it much easier for someone to find that information. Now they say they've got thousands of happy customers, but I can't see any. Can you see any reviews? Okay, you've got some down here, but they're right down the bottom of the page, right? So just like I mentioned before, in terms of credibility, adding that onto your homepage, adding that onto your services pages is going to be really useful. Looks like they've got a blog here, which is good to see as well.
This is a great way. I always remember with a boiler site years ago, like to get that top of funnel in, you know, where people think, oh, I've got this flashing light on my boiler, I can fix that myself. You know, get yourself known for, you know, what does X flashing light on a Baxi boiler mean? Getting people in off the back of that traffic. And then, of course, when they're here, they figure out they can't do it themselves, even though you've got a guide of how to fix it. They're calling you up because you're trying to give them that information. So that's really nice to see that they've got a blog there.
Yeah, exactly. And one last thing I've noticed in terms of conversion rate optimization that we've missed is they don't have a sticky header, and that's something we would recommend for pretty much every single website, every single business. And the reason for that is just to make it much easier to navigate around the site. They'd also have their phone number more visible as well, which we'd lose as soon as we scroll down. If you just want to pick up the phone, we then have to scroll all the way back up, and it's just less prominent. So we found that just having a sticky menu there, I'll just show an example of a site we've built here. So you can still see the phone number no matter where we are on the page. So yeah, that's a really good example of one of those.
Yeah,
Should we have a look at?
Yeah, definitely. Just a final point with that one as well. Like a lot of visitors coming into that website are going to be on mobile. So they're going to be able to instantly call you if you've got that sticky number following at all times. So definitely want to get that in play.
That's a good point. Let's have a look at this on a mobile as well, quickly. Yeah, so you don't have that header there. Don't have any sort of, let's make this a little bit smaller. Even just a widget for a phone number, or even like a sometimes live chat, WhatsApp, call us. That's just going to be really useful for someone who's on a mobile as well. So yeah, great shout there for sure. Let me just grab this and we'll see how it's doing in terms of getting traffic through. So we'll have a look at one of our favorite tools out there, which is SE Ranking, which is a tool we use to look at things like traffic estimates, keyword visibility, and also something that's really useful with this is understanding how much value you're getting in terms of the traffic. And that's usually based on the cost per click of keywords that you're ranking for. So we're looking at the UK traffic for this one now. We can see that there's been a bit of an up and down there. Let's go over the last 2 years. Let's just have a look at that. And it seems to have been fairly flat from this. And of course, this is an estimate. It's not exact numbers. You'll see the exact numbers in your analytics. But what do you make of this sort of traffic trend, Andrea?
Yeah, it's not really the trend we want to see, is it really? So of course, with all products, there is going to be some times of year where you're going to be more likely to sell them than at other times of the year from a trends perspective, for sure. But what we want to see is that year-on-year growth. So wherever you're starting in a year later, you've grown because you've got the right kind of strategy in play. So it looks like 2021, Freddie? It's a bit small on my screen. Where it's at the very top there, it looks like we've peaked there, and then we've been on a bit of a steady decline since then, which isn't really ideal. I mean, obviously, what I would say at this moment in time as well is where people's minds are. And you've got to be thinking in, your customers, your visitors' mindset of what is going to be big to them at the moment. And heating is going to be massive on their mind at this moment in time. So the language you're using on your website, can you tweak, change, alter that as well, so that when they're landing there, if you are offering, savings, because your boiler is going to work more efficiently because it's a new boiler, do we need to be thinking about that kind of language? And actually, is that going to help you with search terms as well? Will people be asking, how can I make my boiler more efficient? Those sort of search terms that that you've got to get into the mindset and be thinking about that. I can't really see that either, Freddie. So
maybe I need to zoom this in so people can actually see it. That's just some of the keywords. Obviously, I'm using too big a screen, aren't I? So that's just not that useful.
Fine,
but so that's the overall trends. These are some of the keywords they're ranking for. And you made a really good point there about. Oops, that's gone weird. You made a good point about some of the messaging and needing to adapt that, and that's something I think that. Tim brought up on one of our recent webinars about recession proofing and how to market in a recession. We do definitely need to think about that as well. And that ties in really nicely as well to keyword research and identifying potentially opportunities there where search trends are changing and people might be looking for stuff around cost more. They might be looking for efficiency. They might be looking for for question type phrases that are more there's more of a need for them because of the sort of overall situation. I don't want to go into that now because this is meant to be exciting and happy. So let's not talk about that. But so definitely opportunities here with targeting additional keywords from what they're doing. Boiler finance, that could be a really good one actually. That's a
what would everybody, if they were searching for a new boiler, would you be literally looking for new boiler plus your location, or would you be looking for something different? Do we even know what kind of boiler manufacturers are out there? Be interesting to hear what people's thoughts are on this one.
I think for myself in this, as I'm sort of in this position, I'd be looking at something that's going to be saving me the most money, and it's because I'm going from like an old style one to a new one. So any information on that and how much you can save would be really useful. That could also tie really nicely then into like an educational piece that could be used to create or to generate backlinks as well. So if you can get some sort of amazing guide on all of the different boilers and how cost effective they are and how much energy they save compared to like your standard run of the mill one, that could even be a piece of content that people want to then reference in their blogs or in their articles or news sites. So that's also something that could be really valuable, not only to the user, but to other people out there, and could help you generate some more backlinks, which could help with rankings. So take that one for free and implement that, please.
That's a good shout. That's a good shout. Because what you've got to think about as well is like when we're getting to, you know, deepest, darkest winter, there are going to be journalists out there who are going to be looking for, you know, the best, say, you know, heat saving boilers out there. They're going to be running those kind of articles. And if you've got something ready to go with that kind of element, yeah, that could really help.
Let's imagine that this business, they're not quite ready to sort of invest a lot of time or money into SEO right now. What route would we go down for them to try and see more of a to get traffic faster, Andrea? What would you be looking at for this?
Yeah, I certainly would be looking at Google pay-per-click here. So you've got that commercial intent, you know, when people are looking to gather. I'd also be going very location heavy as well. So looking to tag all those different locations in the Northeast that, you know, that they know where they're getting their customers from. Because the one thing I would say here is when you're looking at these kind of Google Ads side of things, is that this is going to be really competitive, because even if you chose like new boiler, Durham, those kind of things, all the big guns are going to be going after those kind of keywords and phrases as well. So you need to making sure you've got the kind of the right level here to cut through within this market. Yeah, we can see straight away, look, yeah, British Gas are going to be up against.
Yeah, I'm having to zoom in so we can actually see that. So we can see I've typed in new boiler near me, and we've got 4 ads showing up at the top here. Some of them are the big players. So your British Gases, Boxed, doing, I think they're getting quite big now. So we know the competition with this is quite high, especially at the moment, just with everything going on, I guess. So with this, what we need to think about then, especially a lot more, is how do we make sure that when someone lands on your site, they convert, and we try and get that conversion rate as high up as possible. And there's just been a really good suggestion actually in the chat that I'm just going to put on the screen now. So this is more to do with process rather than the actual sort of your marketing, but these go really hand in hand. And especially if you can have a good offer at the front end, like offering a free boiler check or something that's feels more personable, then this is a great way to separate yourself from those big players that are, let's be honest, faceless organizations that you just go to them because you know the name of them. You know British Gas. Well, who wants to work with British Gas? But you know they're gonna be one of the options there. So this is a really great suggestion, actually, Brian. Love this idea. And if you can include that type of information or call to action even in your ads, you might find that your click-through rate could be higher. It could be a great way to generate more quality traffic coming through and help separate you from the big players out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the localized element for sure. I wonder as well where, you know, we didn't really see any engagement on the website either to pick up on email marketing, other than people going through, you know, the call to action itself to pick up the email marketing there. Is there something that could be done here as well where they get like a free service in year 1 for a new boiler done that year, you know, in exchange for, you know, signing up for email marketing, those kind of things, thinking from an e-commerce perspective side of things as well? Because if you're investing in paid advertising, you want to pick up as much of that traffic as you can do and nurture it. That's got to be a priority.
That's a really good point. And they actually do have something on their site that could help do that. So get your free boiler guide. So they've got a bit of a lead magnet here. They could definitely add some sort of pop-up though to make that easier to see, because I guess you could quite easily miss that. It's at the top. You can even get rid of it if you wanted to. So yeah, having a downloadable guide like that is one way of doing it. And it's with that, of course, you'll want to make sure you've got your email marketing set up, just like Andrea said. So you are nurturing those potential customers. But having that adds credibility. It shows that you know what you're talking about. hopefully you've pulled through some of your reviews as part of that follow-up sequence as well. So yeah, really, really great suggestion, but just make it easier for people to convert with what we call like what's the word? It's like not a full-on conversion, but like a lower value conversion like this. We've been on this one for a while now, and one of the things I did mention as part of the process here and trying to get a good call to action, I'm going to now shamelessly plug our own one, which is get a free review. You can see it at the top of the screen here. So just go to exposureninja.com. We do this day in, day out. Me and Andrea, we are reviewing websites. So just, request a review and fill in some information, and we'll be able to put together a review for you. If sometimes we can't work with all businesses, but you will get some amazing content and useful information there as well. So you'll find it useful, whatever happens out of that. Should we move on to the next one? Let's
go for it. We can talk forever, right. Freddie, and we'll be here.
I know. So what are you thinking, wines or massages? Which one out of those two?
Oh, let's start with wine. Let me answer.
There we go.
Okay.
Great. So first off, everybody in the chat, what do you think to this website? Good or bad? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
There's wine in the picture this time, so we know what we're doing, don't we? That's a good shout there for that one.
Good vibes, bad vibes. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Andrea? Have you had any comments come in?
Yeah, no, not really. I guess we're all deciding what wine we want this evening, I guess, more than anything. Michelle's just popped in here with what my initial thought is, that it looks okay, but the wine gets lost. We've got this big block of content on the left-hand side here, and it does distract from the wine a little bit, I think. And, if you were to maybe just do this in a slightly different way, I think it would work a little bit harder for them, even if it was like a block of more of a lifestyle kind of image. But this might be right for the look, the feel, the style, of their particular visitor and who they're looking to target with it. So I won't say too much because I don't know too much about the target audience at this stage. But it does look a bit block heavy to me on that left hand side. What have we got? We've got logo, we've got menu. Is that USP at the top there? It's quite difficult to read again, Freddie. Is that free?
Let's just zoom in a little bit. So that is their free delivery. Over a certain amount. Free next day delivery. It looks like they're based in East London. So potentially more of a local business, but I mean, e-commerce typically we'd expect to be able to sell to anywhere, hopefully. I'm just going to zoom out slightly.
That's pretty good for wine. To be fair, that's pretty big thing for wine delivery. People often get stung when they're buying like 12 bottles of wine that they're then going to get another £20 charge for the delivery on top. So it's I see why they would highlight that. That's good to see for sure. I've not seen any contact details in the header though. We certainly want some contact details here.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if it's more of a local business, that can add a lot of trust there, and that's something that is currently missing. Let's just have a look through the comments and see what people are saying. So we've actually had quite a lot of feedback, which is really good.
Yeah.
So some people are saying this is average. Some people like the colors. Thumbs up from Phil. CTA a little bit weak. We'll talk about the CTA in just a moment. It's okay. So I think with this, what we're seeing is it's okay. It's not great. There's definitely opportunities. Some people think it's bad, maybe a bit basic. It's clear what they're selling, and then even some comments about the imagery there as well. So I think we've tapped into that. Lifestyle imagery can often be a great way to really highlight your target audience. And that's something that we don't know straight away. Is this wine for me? Because, I mean, maybe you don't want to rule out part of your audience, but if you know that let's say it's women aged 40 to 55 that drink this particular brand and they're really popular with that, get them on there, show them drinking it. So when someone that is your target audience lands on there, they know they're in the right place. I think that's one recommendation I definitely want to look at.
Tom's mentioned that as well. He said a professional photo of the wine would probably be better. But as you say, it's like, I mean, I noticed how you clearly put me into that age category as well there, Freddie. So I probably wouldn't, I'd want more of a lifestyle imagery, shall we say, for the wines then. And then it's just kind of looks like it's placed on the pavement might do them a bit better.
Yeah. It does. This looks like something. I don't know. When I see like wine and I see concrete, I'm thinking more someone's picked this up last minute from a corner shop, and they're drinking on the street corner. So maybe that's just something to think about.
We're thinking about
let's look at the CTA, because we've had a few comments about the CTA. One of which is that it's not very colorful. There's not really a variation there. And I think that's quite an interesting point, actually, especially when we have this big red free delivery benefit at the top. This is almost drawing my eye more than the call to action. What's your thoughts on the CTA, Andrea?
Yeah, I mean, are we rotating images, Freddie, or is it just the one? Is it just the one?
It's just the one, yeah.
Okay, and they have other wine, right? Not just sparkling red. Yeah.
I would have thought so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not into that at all. I mean, I understand whether, if they've got something new that they want to promote, that's great. But what I would tend to do is we want to be thinking about anybody who's landing here, getting them to the product that they want as fast as possible. And if somebody is sat here thinking, I don't want sparkling reds, where am I going next? So you may want the likes of shop red, shop white, shop sparkling. So then somebody can get straight to where they're after right from the get-go on this homepage here, and that will help. I'm not seeing a lot from a personality perspective. We've got things like About Us as well that talks about how different. There we go, natural wine shop.
So they are an independent shop.
Natural wine shop. Right, okay. Oh, well, that's not obvious. So that needs to go right into the top of the above the fold then. So that little description of what they've got there, saying that they're a natural organic wine shop, that's your benefit positioning statement. That's an understanding of what your offering is, what your products are, why we should be purchasing from you, how you're going to be able to best help us. And if they're a natural organic wine shop, I would certainly say that from that imagery there of the shop, what they've got in that main above the fold with the sparkling reds does not fit this brand, and they want to be thinking about how they can better present that. Even if it's, look at this shop, looks stunning, this shop looks absolutely stunning, let's get some imagery of the shop actually in the main above the fold if they want to go down that kind of route.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think maybe from when we first land on this, we don't actually realize the quality of the products that they're selling and just sort of how organic and natural. Oh, we've got a cat on the loose.
Yeah, that didn't take long, did it? Been off for a while.
So making sure that we really get across to people what makes your products or your business amazing. And at the moment, the above the fold area, we're focusing too much on sort of one product category, when in reality you do have quite a good USP. In terms of that call to action, I'm wondering if there's a real opportunity here to get people involved with the decision of what they're choosing. And the first thing that comes to mind for me is maybe having something like a quiz functionality, or some sort of you fill in like what type of wines do you like best. I prefer reds myself. I don't think I want a sparkling red, maybe as a little tester, but
no,
you fill in what you like. You put your preferences in, you put in dry, sweet, all that sort of stuff, and then you get a recommendation. I'm just wondering if that would be a better way of
I
getting
agree.
people to the right
product. You can have fun with that as well, though, isn't it? So you could almost say, like, what am I in the mood for? And then you click down, drop down to red, white, sparkling. What kind of red do I want? Bold? Do I want sweet? Do I want, and then you're getting to what you're after really quickly. I think that's a really nice way of looking at that as well. Yeah, definitely. Find your perfect match. It's that kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So in terms of the actual conversion rate optimization elements, then is there anything here that you think we're really missing, just from having a look over the site in general?
Look at those lovely reviews. We want that in that USP bar again, or within the homepage at least. You can see there's brilliant yellow reviews there. Let's shout about that loud and proud on the homepage for sure. And yeah, it just feels like it could do with a little bit of a rethink. Somebody's mentioned there as well, Michelle's mentioned that actually, depending on why they're called forest wines, would red and green be a better option from the likes of Dale's mentioned naked wines as well. We used to use Naked Wines, but we don't anymore. Since they went to Majestic. But they're very, very good at trying to find and delve into what you're after. And they've got like lots of little icons. So where we can see here on these individual pages. So oh God, what can I try and pronounce here? Lambrusco, I can pronounce that. Is there like a little symbol that they could be putting across the top of that to say sweet, or dry, so on a 1 to 5 scale, where would that fit on that wine, and that kind of thing, because that's just going to save somebody. You've got to think about your user journey here. When somebody lands on this page, they want like a sweet wine, for example. How are they finding that really quickly? Do they have to go through every single one of those to find which one matches their taste? And if it does, they might get bored and bounce away from your site. So that's what you need to be thinking about.
I think that's a really good point. And also you have to think of where we are at in the year as well. So we're getting close to holiday seasons. I know it's a good couple of months away, but this is the time that you need to start thinking about how potentially different users are going to be coming onto your site. So at the moment, this looks like it's for someone that knows what they want. They've potentially bought from similar shops before, and they have an idea of what they're looking for. The reality is, though, with this type of business, there's a huge opportunity with the gift market. And if someone doesn't know what the product is, they're going to be actually quite lazy to try and look at every single one and choose the right one. So having, like you say, those icons there, just making it easier for someone to find the right product for the purpose of gifting would be a really great way to make it easier for people that are those type of customer, for sure. Let's have a look at the product page and then see. I think one thing I've noticed, there's no actual text on this page. So just in terms of SEO, we'd always recommend having some descriptive text to go with this. Usually just a few lines at the top will be enough to get started. If you find that there's a lot of competition for this type of keyword or phrase, then we'd want to be looking at maybe potentially even broadening that out to things like guides and those type of things too, which sort of goes into more of the blog type content. Let's have a look at this one here, then. That's got good reviews. So just the one image, big headline there. We've got some reviews, we've got the pricing, add to cart, and then add to wish list as well. And then we've got some of the information here, and then you may also like. So that's something that that's something to be thinking about. What do you think as a first impression of the product page, Andrea?
I'm going to show this comment from Steph. So what I would be doing here is, as the owner, utilizing almost like whatever the owner's name is, like their thoughts, like a connoisseur on this wine. So almost having like under the description, like X's thoughts on this. So whoever is the owner of the shop, and then they can talk about what it's like, what it's good for, what, if it's good for a party, if it's good for, just having as fine dining, those kind of elements. So you can really develop those product descriptions to be absolutely amazing. So anybody who's landing here is really clear on what this is for, what they can match with, all those kind of things. And I feel like that's missing at the moment from the product description as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's definitely opportunities. I know we talk about this quite a lot as well, but getting people signed up to email as well, there doesn't seem to be any sort of incentive there. And that could be just a great way to get more people involved. I'm sure they stock new products and new ranges, so that when you get those selling, you want to make sure people know about them as well. It's also a great way, like you say, to add some more character and story there and show their expertise by saying, look, this is our wine of the week. We recommend this one, and it pairs with this, and this. It just sort of builds up that trust. And
that's it. In your subscription right now, Forest Wines, there could be sat revenue right now because we're not utilizing that as much as we could. As we're going into different seasons, people are going to fancy a different kind of wine. I think as well, I was just thinking as well, Freddie, when you were mentioning there about like Christmas, what they could actually do here is create like a little icon in the corner of the homepage saying, secure your Christmas delivery now. And then they could actually book out for November and December for their Christmas delivery slots, whether that's a gift delivery or personal delivery, to make sure that they get in time for Christmas, because they will book up fast, these kind of businesses with that kind of thing.
I did not mean to do that. Yeah, exactly. That makes total sense for sure. Now, getting traffic onto this site, what do we think is the sort of the best route for this one? Should we have a look at SEMrush quickly? Should we have
let's have a quick look at SEMrush, because this is a really
SEO
interesting one,
ranking
because
even?
again, what you're up against here from an SEO perspective is, if somebody's looking for a red wine gift, we're up against those big guns from a traffic perspective. It does look like we're getting some good traffic already, to be fair to them.
That is great to see, actually.
Yeah, that's really lovely to see, which is really telling me at this moment in time that right now, those tweaks and changes to your website that Freddie and I have taught you through represent some great potential for you, because if you're getting good traffic right now, we can nudge that conversion rate by 0.5%, 1%. That's just additional revenue that you're not seeing into your business at this moment in time. So really great opportunity right now. I would specifically be trying to go after, if people are familiar with the make and the actual the type of wine itself, because that's like commercial intent. When we're thinking about different levels of the funnel, people are after that very, very specific keyword. They want your product, and if you are one of the sole suppliers of those products, that's going to give you great opportunity to really hone in on those ones for yourself. Not really seeing what are you seeing, Freddie, from what you can see from fast scrolling?
Yeah, I'm seeing there's some really good keywords here that are quite specific. So things like sulfate free, organic wine, Magnum wines, wine near me, some really, really good keywords. And there's some that are actually on the first page. And typically we're looking at about between sort of 20 to £1.20, depending on the cost per click. And it's the ones that include delivery in the keywords that seem to be potentially the highest value there. And that's usually the reason we think about that, is because if someone's typing in wine delivery, they could be a massive potential for a subscription. And that's something we don't have, I think, on the site right now, where we're really missing a trick, is the unless we do have that on there, but it's not super clear.
Hiding.
If you do, yeah, maybe it's hiding, maybe I can't see it, but subscription functionality, the ones I can think of are like Naked Wines, Beer 52. I think they've got Wine 52 or something like that now as well.
Yeah.
That potential for ongoing revenue, ongoing sales is huge with this, and that's where I see the biggest opportunity for this particular brand.
Yeah, that's a really good shout. Definitely.
Cool.
That's not even hitting that subscription model, everything we've already talked through. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. You guys need to get in touch with us. I'm already excited for Christmas for you. Yeah.
Talking of getting in touch. Yeah. So at the top of the screen, you'll be able to see you can request a review. So if you're enjoying the stream, also hit like, subscribe if you haven't already, and keep leaving comments, because we love to see what you think of these websites, and getting your recommendations and ideas as well, because it's very, very good to see everyone's ideas in one place, and we can talk about them and try and help everybody with their own websites as well. What we're going to do now is move on to another business, another website, and that is going to be this one here, Andrea. Yeah. So let's get the opinions of the people in the chat. And first of all, is this good or is it bad? Thumbs up, thumbs down, all those good things. Do we know what this business sells? Do we understand, or do they even sell anything? Let me know. So general thoughts, general feelings. Is this website good? Is it bad? And yeah, maybe out of 10. I think that would be an interesting one. What would you give this particular website out of 10? I'm waiting for those comments to come in. Hopefully everyone's still actually here. We've got a not bad. Whilst people are putting those comments in, is there a way to submit websites to be reviewed live? Great question, Theo. There is a type form somewhere, and I'm going to ask Dale to either add that into the chat or to explain more, because I don't know where to find that right now, but there is definitely a way you can get your website submitted, so we might review it next week or whenever the next live stream is. Right, let's see what people are saying then. So not bad. We've just got the monkey emoji, hands in the face. I don't know why that might be. Is it 2001? And I guess it's some organic cosmetics. Not the
Shout.
best. UX looks off. Not enough white space. Bad use of borders and grids. 4 out of 5. Wow, I think that's really generous, actually. Needs improvement. 4 out of 10. 7 out of 10. Wall of text. Too much copy. What do they do? No call to action. Random photo. 6.5. Does it look as bad on a mobile? Let's find out.
Okay. Right, I'm going to give you all. I'm going to give you all a bit of a hint here to see what you think when I tell you what this is. Okay, so this website sells massages. What do we think now, based on that information?
So yeah,
they meant 4 or 5 out of 10. Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Closer. Yeah.
So yeah, they sell massages, and I think the only way you'd be able to work that out is with the word "are massagers" and "get a massager." But obviously, when you first land on a site, that's not how we process information, is it? That's not. We don't go straight to the navigation bar. No, we look at the logo. We look at the headline on the page. We look at the CTA if there is one, and it's all of those little things that just show us early on what they sell. And one thing we go back to a lot as well is just the imagery. This looks like a Wikipedia page. Do you know what I mean? Like it does not look like a website where they're selling products.
It looks like a resource, doesn't it?
It looks quite medical, which might be part of their USP, is that they have this experience from looking at this. It's a doctor who has created these products, so they might have a lot of knowledge in this space. They might have a lot of experience, but in terms of getting that across to people and explaining what they sell, there's no clear. It's not clear, is it? And Michelle has nailed it there as well. It needs to be sold solving a problem, i.e. it helps your pain. So yeah, we're not don't sell the sausage,
Michelle.
sell the sizzle.
That's
Don't sell the nail. Don't sell the drill, sell the hole. Right?
Where are you going with this? I'm like, oh god. Somebody
How many marketing cliches can you get in 5 minutes? Brand identity is shocking. What is it? So yeah, I think we're all agreed on this could be a lot better, and this is why we're here. It's not to rip apart webs. I mean, we are doing that in the process, but it's the point of this is to highlight and emphasize, if this is what people on this live stream currently think of your website, they don't understand what it does, they don't understand what you sell, they don't know how to actually go and do that, it's going to be missing out on sales, and that's just not good for your business. So we need to look at ways to improve this, and that's exactly what we're going to focus on right now. So where do we start with this, Andrea? What do we need to do?
Well, what I would tend to do if I was reviewing this website is I'd go over to Angel Pet Co. and let's show what an e-commerce website should look like.
Okay, I think that's probably the easiest way to do this, isn't it? Actually,
because otherwise, what you're doing is we're tearing into nitty gritty. So let's talk in kind of bigger language of what we're looking for here. So with Angel Pet Co, have you got like a bigger desktop, Freddie? That looks different on yours to mine. Yeah.
Let me zoom in a little bit.
There we go. Oh, that's it. I think you zoomed out, didn't you? Right. So what we've got here within the header section are some clear elements. Well, let's hope they say yes, Dale. If they say no, we're all in trouble. So what we've got within the header is really clear logo, user flow. We've got a sticky menu in place, so as we're finding out more about this business that is following us at all times, we can find any product from any page on the website, so we can jump nice and easy. And really ultimately what this sticky menu is doing is keeping somebody on your website for longer. So the longer they stay on your website, of course, the more chance we've got of converting them. We've also got some contact details, and you may be asking, in an e-commerce website, why would we possibly want contact details? And this really starts to help to build up that trust credibility factor, because if you're, somebody's coming into your website cold, which is exactly what we want somebody who's looking for products, solutions that you're solving to problems coming into your website. We want them to see how accessible you are as a business. We want them to see that you're a real business, somebody they're going to be able to trust. And those contact details really help within that header section. And then very quickly and to the point here, this is one of my favorite product descriptions ever. Empty bowls, easy to pick up poos, silky smooth coats, healthy food for healthy dogs. We know exactly what problem this is solving on this website here. Call to action, Trustpilot to build up credibility. And that's really, in a nutshell, what we want to be thinking about within this main above the fold section. And a cute doggy as well. What could you not love about this website? Always helps to sell it.
Exactly. I think you've nailed it on the head there, really. It's these are the frameworks of any good e-commerce site. We need to have really clear headline, clear call to action, credibility, imagery that makes sense, a navigation that's easy to use, easy to get in contact with people. Now, I'm not saying that website doesn't have all of, or some of those things. We do have things like your email and stuff like that, but it's the overall impression that we get. And I think the honest truth is as well, people, myself included, by the way, with this, people are lazy and they can't be bothered to read everything. So having a big chunk of text here is unfortunately just going to be, people will switch off and they'll go look somewhere else. They will look for somewhere where they can actually just process the information more quickly. And then once they're on board with what it is, they'll be engaged and they'll read the research and they'll read the articles that we have. And that's something this site does really well. It has some great research and backing behind it, which is definitely going to help when it comes to your EAT and making sure that Google trusts you because you've got that knowledge and that information there. But if we're not able to explain or sell to people what you have, unfortunately, you're going to be missing out on loads of sales there. Should we go and have a look at some of like the traffic that's coming through to this site?
Let's have a
something we've got time to do?
Yeah.
And I think just before we do that as well, just to highlight the point, I want to get people's opinions on whether this should be a fix or is this a rebuild in terms of the website as well. So let us know what you think in the comments, fix or rebuild.
Oh, love a bit of fix or rebuild. We should have one of those sessions as well.
Yeah, I love a fix or rebuild. They're great. So let's have a look at, we'll look at SE ranking again. Ooh. Showing the preview for next week's website there by accident. Right, okay, I'm zoomed in a little bit. So UK traffic.
Freddie's out of control, Dale. Yeah. Wait till you see what Dr. Steve next.
Right, I'm going to focus on the US traffic with this because I think that's probably the biggest market for this particular. Don't cross streams. Oh dear. I'm going to call HR. Organic traffic about 6,500, and they are getting traffic through from the UK, Australia, India. The biggest market does seem to be the US from what we can see here. So let's just hone in on that traffic first of all and see what sort of keywords we're ranking for. So the good thing with this is that the traffic's going in the right direction. Some of this has commercial intent, which is great. Keyword visibility is going up. So what this suggests to me is that the content on your site must be very good and relevant, and Google trusts you. So that's a big thumbs up from me. Fantastic to see. Yeah. We're ranking, it seems to be mainly articles from what I can see here. So let's just open up some of those articles so we can have a look at them too. Resources and articles are what we're ranking for. So, and some of these have lots of people searching for them. So trigger point release is a really good one. Massager vibration, that's how to choose one. Percussion massagers. So I guess this is like a similar product to a what's it called, like massage gun, isn't it? Do you know?
Yeah. This is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. You know, most businesses would dream of having this kind of power, you know, for their blog to be bringing in this kind of traffic. These guys have almost got the sort of the opposite problem of what a lot of businesses do, where they hone in on their products, on the, you know, getting everybody into their product pages, and then they kind of turn a little bit of a blind eye to like getting in that extra traffic coming through. Whereas this is the exact reverse. This is massively heavy on that credibility, on, you know, that research heavy traffic. But we want to sell some massagers. So what we need to do is we need to fix this a little bit as well and make sure that, firstly, let's have a look at one of those blog pages if we're doing enough to capture anybody who lands here, because it looks like they're getting good traffic coming into these individual pages. Yeah. So I'm not seeing any email marketing. We haven't had any kind of email marketing interaction on the website since we've been here. Am I right in saying that, Freddie? Or you've just
I haven't seen
or anything like that? That we've not seen.
I haven't seen any email signups or anything like that.
Okay.
This is really good quality content, and it's obviously ranking quite well because of the amount of information here. This is a very in-depth article that seems to be something that Google trusts, which is what we want.
Brilliant.
But Andrea is exactly right with this. Unfortunately, we don't really have, we have some links through to some of the other pages, which is useful. But what I expect to see here is actually trying to just highlight some of the products, and I'm trying to think of a really good example of a site that would do that. Is there any that come to mind for you, Andrea or Dale, potentially?
Where have we
I'm trying
got?
I'll tell you what, I've got one in mind actually. So this is
I'm not sure if
a
Chaz does either, to be fair.
hang on, I've done that wrong. Basically, Lowe's have got a big old blog slash. I'm trying to find this now. Where is it? I'm just going to give up on this actually because I can't think of where it is.
Go to Chaz, because there is a section. We have got a section on Chaz's website with the articles are like in different kind of categories. So if you go to Insights on the right.
Yep.
And then as we get into there, we've got, you see at the top there, we've got different, just above, we've got elements like accreditation, Chaz membership. So you've got different, we're kind of categorizing it depending on what's going to be important to somebody. But what we want to make sure of as well is that we're capturing people with the likes of, oh my God, what's my cat? Sorry, my cat's doing something really weird under the day. Note for next week, she will be thrown outside. And what we need to make sure of is if you're spending, because clearly that website is spending so much time, effort, energy into creating that content, putting their expertise into written words. We need to make sure that we're capitalizing on that traffic, and you're going to be able to nurture them. So if somebody's looking as to whether a trigger massager is right for them, they're in the market potentially longer term for a trigger massager or something of equivalent that's going to be better for them. So we need to make sure that we're getting everything to where it needs to be. Let's have a look at one of these and see if we've got.
Yeah, potentially is there a relevant CTA for this one? So there you go, join Chaz Elite. So this is the CTA as part of their blog post. So if someone's halfway through this piece of content, that's the time that you want to sell your products, your services, whatever that is. And this is the same for any business. So many businesses, they just forget to include a call to action that is easy to see, either going to look at a product or even like Andrea said as well, you could even get people signed up with some sort of guide. There's so much information on that site that could be packaged up into a PDF guide, or maybe even like you could even look at some sort of PDF course of how to use this massager. People will download that and be like, okay, well, I've got all this information on how to use it. Now I just need to go and buy one. And that's sort of the next step there. And I know we talk about email a lot. We talk about CTAs a lot. But if you don't have them, you're leaving money on the table. And that is just the truth.
Yeah, it is. And I do feel, this website's got so much potential to get that right, and get it in a way that it justifies itself as an e-commerce website. The easiest part in the world should be to find a product and make a purchase on the product. And actually that's the hardest thing to do on that website. They've got all this wonderful content, but their products are actually getting lost in the content, and not really in a good way.
Yeah, of course. And if we just compare this to, I know this is quite a competitive space, but if we just compare this to the likes of, I think Therabody is probably one of the most well-known ones. We click on their website, they will also have a lot of this information here about the sort of the how to use it, all of the medical stuff as well, I would have thought. But this is to try and sell them, and we know how much they cost. We know we can click here to buy it. It's the really simple things that just make it so much easier. Developed by medical experts, backed by science, and they've got all of that technology and information there as well. But this is very much a product page that not only explains how the product works, but gets you to want to buy it too. So look at some of your competitors as well for a bit of inspiration on how they do it. And a lot of this is actually just the visual element of this. We need to get some good product imagery, invest in a photographer or videographer, and highlight and showcase that on your website too. I think that's going to be everything from today. I think we've managed to hit the hour pretty quickly, and that's absolutely flown by.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for coming to watch, and also some people putting their websites in the comments as well.
Right.
If you go to the description of this video, there is a link so you can submit the website in case we miss it in the comments, because we do get quite a few comments coming through. So make sure you submit your website for the next stream that we do. And do not forget to like, subscribe, share, all that beautiful stuff. Do that for us. And if you haven't already, request your free marketing review. exposureninja.com/review. Anything to add, Andrea?
No, Jail's just thrown us a spanner in the works now because you've said about that. Do we want to do we want fix or rebuild, guys, or do we want another live review next week?
Prefer the live reviews with audience comments, live review, fix or rebuild. I'll tell you what, we could do the live review and then at the end just do fix or rebuild as well. But
I love it. We can have a feature within a feature. Oh, Dale's going to hate us. He's like, oh my God, they've gone off the rails again in March. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up there then. Thanks everybody, and have a great rest of your day.
Yeah. We'll see you next week.